All right, Nick, let's talk about the Oregon Ducks. This is a team this past season probably wasn't where they wanted to end up, but still very good team. You like what you saw out of Dan Lanning and co. down in Austin. This was a great performance for the Oregon Ducks if you take a step back and look at it. And some people are sad. There's a lot of older guys, a lot of senior players, a lot of people without much ability, and you're thinking maybe a lot of these guys are going to leave, but we have good news, Nick. Some of these guys still had a little bit of eligibility left. They decided not to move on and yet to come back to the Ducks and make one last ride. Let's get into the article, then we can talk about it on the other side. I have two stories back to back. First one from Ducks Wire, second one's from Ducks Digest. Don't get them confused. Oregon has already learned wide receiver Tez Johnson was going to return for his senior season, and now he has company. Trason Holden, another wide receiver and a former transfer portal player via Alabama, announced via X that he would be spending another year in Eugene. Rolling on to the second story. Junior linebacker Jeffrey Bassa, an all Pac-12 selection this season, announced on Wednesday that he would be returning to Eugene for his senior season as well. Bassa was undecided on whether or not he'd enter the 2024 NFL Draft before the Fiesta Bowl, and he ultimately decided to return to Oregon for his fourth and final season. The starting linebacker has been a force under Tosh Lupoi's defense. I probably butchered that, but that's how I thought you pronounced it. For the past two seasons and became the leader of a run defense that ranked inside the top 10 this year, putting up career numbers in 2023 with 72 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, and a pass deflection, a 45-yard pick six. So, Nick, I think this is great because not only do they get a star defensive player back, but they get two playmakers on offense back as well. Keeping cohesiveness for this Oregon team is going to be absolutely crucial, especially with the addition of a new quarterback. I think this is going to be a great year for the Ducks, potentially even better than last year. I foresee them making the new college football playoff format absolutely no problem and probably making a deep run in it. I'm curious, though, what your thoughts are, Nick, but Oregon fans, who is your favorite player that decided to come back this season? Let us know in the comment section below, or who do you think is going to make the biggest impact out of these players? Let us know in the comment section below. But, Nick, what do you think about these players deciding to come back for one final year at Oregon?
So it seems kind of strange, right? Strange maybe isn't the right word. It seems kind of maybe an anomaly in terms of college football because we hear all the time about players, foregoing their final season or final seasons and entering the NFL draft or entering the transfer portal or what have you, right? To not come back and finish out the career where they currently sit. In fact, the Oregon Ducks took advantage of that, their last two quarterbacks, right? You look at Bo Nix and, of course, now Dylan Gabriel. So what we're seeing now from these Oregon Ducks players seems a little unique in terms of college football landscape. But there's a famous quote I like. I think it reminds me of this sort of situation right here is once is an accident. 2 is a coincidence. 3 is a pattern. So we're starting to hear we've got one player returning. It's anecdotal, right? Don't think about it too much. 2, that could be a coincidence. Don't think about it. Now we've got 3 guys not going to the transfer portal, not going to the NFL, not going to go play pro. We're going to return to Eugene. To me, that's a sign of a pattern. And I think the pattern is saying 2 things. One, that Dan Lanning's program, Dan Lanning's culture, players gravitate toward it, right? He brings a lot of energy. We know that. He's a very motivational guy. We covered that a lot during the 2023 regular season. But he obviously creates an environment that these players want to play at and are happy to play at, despite the fact it's going to be a very volatile season in 2024 for the Oregon Ducks, right? And that's my second point that makes this almost so strange because obviously the Oregon Ducks' new schedule, there's going to be a lot of travel involved with that. If you're one of these players that maybe is a fringe NFL guy or already has a solid draft position, the last thing you really want to do, right, is to sit there and say, hey, I got a lot of great tape against Pac-12 opponents. All right, let's go play Iowa in the snow. If I'm a receiver and I know I may not get as many catches and yards because it's going to be terrible weather, why do I want to go up and play Indiana in bad weather or go to DC in late in the year or something like that? I don't have the Oregon schedule memorized off the top of my head, but why would you potentially risk putting some bad tape out there just because of bad weather that the Big Ten is known to have, unless you are so bought into the fact that Dan Lanning's program is going to win a national title next year or really compete for it. And that's the key point here. These players would not return for a chance to go win another New Year's Six bowl game. They would not return for a chance to beat up a terrible Liberty football team. Not terrible, that's not fair, but in terms of big boy college football, Liberty is not very good in the Fiesta Bowl, right? They would not return for that. The only reason they would return is if they believe that they're going to win and compete for a national title in 2024, even despite of the move to the Big Ten. Credit Dan Lanning for giving the great sell job to these players, but also these players are not idiots, right? They've been around the block a little bit. I think they actually see the talent on the team. They see the direction of the team, and they really believe, like you said, Miles, that they can make a lot of noise in the college football playoff next season. And the fact that they're returning is a sign that a lot of people are starting to get momentum in this Oregon Ducks program as we're getting ready for 2024 spring ball.
Yeah, and let me give you just a couple statistics to end on here. First off, top 20 defense for Oregon. That feels good. You know, you can get this guy to return, get a couple guys to return on this defense, and you can build on that performance and make it even better. But the one I really want to focus on is a top 2 offensive production for Oregon. The only team that had them beat was Heisman winner Jaden Daniels' LSU Tigers. I mean, that has to feel good. You're the top 2 offense in the country as far as total offense performance goes. Guess who is number 3? Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma. Yeah. So I see no reason why Dylan Gabriel-led Oregon Ducks will not be absolutely the best offensive team in the country. And now I'm seeing why these receivers are like, hey, maybe we should stay at Oregon. We got something cooking here. You know, we will be the best offensive team in the country. I think that is partially one of the big reasons why a lot of people are seeing the pieces that Dan Lanning and co. have put together. This offense is going to be absolutely incredible. Best offense in college football. I'm going to say it right now. It's going to be incredible with the athletic ability and dynamicism of a guy like Dylan Gabriel and just the scheme in general, great playmakers of the Oregon offense. This is going to be a sight to behold. So if you want to see exciting football, watch some Oregon Ducks offense next year because it is going to be out of this world.